Hey guys, welcome back to another nail collection review. If you follow my Instagram, you know I was gone on a trip to Europe for a couple weeks and it was amazing. Well, it was like a week and a half, but it was so much fun. I had quite a bit of jet lag when I got home, had some things to take care of at home with the kids and everything in the yard. Back here, ready to give you a lot more reviews. We have some more summer collections that I'm going to be reviewing, but I wanted to start here today with the Essie Nail Art Studio jellies that they had that were released this year. And they have 9 new polishes for those. I really like these. I think they're super fun. I don't do a ton of nail art anymore, but I actually like them just as a mani. Look how beautiful. I mean, they're just so glossy and shiny. This is one that I'm going to be talking about. Obviously, it's one of my favorites because I chose to wear it. I usually do that in my reviews, pick one that I love and wear it. But let's get into the colors. They have a nice variety. They're all a little lighter pale shades and then a black and white, which is really nice to kind of even and balance that out. Before I get started, I'll talk about what's on my lips. I have this lipstick down here. It's Juicy Peach Full On from Buxom, and it's a nice creamy, not super glossy, a little bit matte shade, and I really like it. Before I get started, I want to talk a little bit about applying these jellies. If you're going to use them just as a full mani, I like to float the brush, especially on that last coat of each layer. You have to be careful though. You don't want to float too much where you're getting a really thick layer of polish because you're doing so many layers. First of all, it'll just be kind of gloopy, and second, you will get some bubbles in it. I have a few bubbles in this one because I tried to apply it very quickly. You want to make sure each layer is dried pretty well in between, so they can take a little bit more time to apply, but if you really love that squishy look, then it's worth it. And I would imagine with nail art, it's the same thing. You want to make sure that they have a chance to really dry in between layers. I did find that all of these, well, most of them, I'll talk about a few that maybe didn't apply super evenly, but they applied very evenly, and that's really important with the sheer polish. And well, it's just something that I really like with the sheer polish. It just makes things so much easier, and the brush is amazing, and that makes a big difference too. So if you have a nice brush, that's going to make a huge difference. As you play around with them, you'll be able to know exactly how much to float your brush. I've noticed I'm really good with my dominant hand at floating the brush exactly how I want it, but with my non-dominant hand, when I'm painting my right hand, that I can tell I'm just not as skilled at it, and so it is a little bit more patchier. So the more you practice, the better you will get, but there is a little bit of technique that you can use when applying jellies or sheer polishes that makes it a little bit easier. So I just wanted to note that and give you that little tip, and hopefully that's helpful in applying these, because I'm sure some people try to apply jellies or shears and it can be kind of frustrating. So you just have to be a little bit patient, let them dry in between each coat, do thin layers, float the middle coat to kind of give it the nice, smooth, even layer, and hopefully that will help you as you try to do that. But like I mentioned, the formulas on these are pretty great, and I didn't really have a problem with them. And the formulas reminded me a lot of the Essie Gel Couture polishes, which I love, and they have a lot of shears that I love, and I just think Essie's really good at making these apply very evenly. Okay, let's get into the colors. Artic Jelly is this first one, and it's a beautiful, bright, pure, clean white, which I really love about it, and I'm excited about this one. 3 coats will get you pretty good coverage, but if you want full opacity, I would say 4 coats on this one if you're going for that just straight mani squishy look. But it applied super evenly, and I love a good clean white. I have Essie Marshmallow. My bottle's a little bit older, but I do think that one is a little bit more off-white, and this one's more of a clean white, which I really appreciate. And so I love this one. I'm definitely going to wear it, and I think it's going to be so beautiful in the summertime with a tan and then just that nice, crisp, kind of shiny, glossy mani. So I'll definitely be pulling this one out this summer. I already know I want to take it in my vacation when I go down to southern Utah and have it out there because it's really hot, and I definitely get a tan when I go out there and lay out for a couple days. And so this one's going to be super fun. So love this one. I didn't do any comparisons for these just because I feel like they're a little bit different. If I was to do comparisons, this would probably be the one that I would do comparisons for, because I would think it is kind of close to Funny Bunny, which is another one of my favorites. But with this brush, I think it's even easier to apply, and you'll see that in the live application. Funny Bunny is a good one from OPI as well, and that's definitely what this one reminded me of. This is Buttercup Jelly, and I can say that I love the names of all these. I think they're a little bit easy to remember, having Jelly being the second name. And this is Buttercup, and I love that this is a cool toned, crisp yellow color. It is beautiful. I'm really loving these cool toned yellows. There's another one that wasn't a sheer that Essie came out with this summer called Meditation application haven that I have been loving, and I wore it on my trip to Europe. Actually, if you go to my Instagram page, Go Polished, you can see that there. But they're just so fun. So I love this sheer. So this is the one that I put on my nails. Of course, I was most excited to wear this one. Same thing, this one's going to be almost opaque in 3 coats, but fully opaque in 4. Today I am wearing 4 coats on this one. I think I did 4 on this hand and 3 on this hand, just because I'm going to take this right off to put another color on it. I didn't want to waste my time doing it, but I did want to see the difference with them, and it definitely is a little more opaque. Of course, my dominant hand, which I paint with my non-dominant hand, maybe isn't as good as an application, but it still went on pretty well. So that goes to show me that the formula is pretty good on these. I love this one. It's one of my favorites from the collection, as you can see. Yeah, I would definitely pick this one up. Next up is Blush Jelly, and this is kind of a warm toned soft pink, and this one surprised me with its opacity. It's pretty much opaque in 2 coats, so it's more of a crelly, I would say. It's not quite as sheer as the others. I would say it's a buildable crelly. It's so pretty and shiny and glossy, and so I really liked this one. It is kind of a soft shade. It's not anything too bright pastel shades, and so I think you guys are really gonna like this one too. It is shiny and glossy. If you want kind of a sheer look with something that's a little bit more buildable, then this is the one to get for sure. But I guess you gotta like pink. And then we have Cheeky Jelly, and I would say this one is pretty sheer. I would definitely do 4 coats on this one, and 4 gets you full opacity. This is kind of like a brown, reddish toned nude, and as you build it up, it definitely has more of that red undertone. With the first couple coats, I was like, oh, this is like exactly the color of my skin tone. But as I build it up more, that kind of red brown came out a little bit stronger. So if you really like nude polishes, then you'll probably like this one. But like I mentioned, you're going to need 4 coats for full opacity, but that's to be expected with these sheer polishes. I don't wear a lot of nude polishes, so I probably won't be wearing this one, but that doesn't mean that you can't like it. Next up is Apricot Jelly, and I love the name for this one. It's a beautiful orange shade, kind of a mid-tone orange. It is a little bit more yellow leaning, and anytime I do any swatches of orange, they always come out a little more yellow toned than they are. It's so hard to capture a true orange polish. It can be hard to capture red too, so I like to just describe it. Even though it's looking more yellow toned, it's definitely not. It's really kind of in the middle. It's not too yellow, it's just basically a true orange. And same thing, this is going to take 4 coats for full opacity. 3 gets you like almost there. Orange isn't my favorite color to wear, so I won't be reaching for this one either, but that's just a personal one. But I like that they kind of have all different colors in this collection that they're bringing out. Cactus Jelly is beautiful, you guys. I love this one, and obviously I like green. This is a beautiful jade green color with this jelly formula. It looks like jade glass, like you're wearing jade glass, and I love jade glass things, so I just think this one is beautiful. It's the perfect color green too. It's a little bit more cool toned, like this kind of whole collection is a little bit more cool leaning. Obviously I'm gonna like this one. Same thing with this one. It's a sheer. It's very buildable though. I feel like with this one, 3 coats was like pretty opaque. This is one I'm definitely going to be wearing as well. I think as we transition from summer to fall, this will be a perfect one to pull out. It'd be good for summer too, or spring, and even in winter. Actually, I feel like this is a polish you could wear any time of year, but the time that I'm kind of craving to wear this one is as we transition from summer to fall. I'll be pulling this one out for sure. Sky Jelly is a beautiful cool toned blue, sticking with that cool toned theme here, and I love this one too. Same thing, it builds up pretty close in 3 coats for opacity, but if you want full opacity, you're going to have to do 4 for this, and I would definitely take the time to do 4 for full opacity because it's just a beautiful blue color. This one kind of reminds me of last as well, and it feels very beachy to me. I don't know, there's something that makes me feel like the beach or the pool, so I think this one's going to be fun for summer. Next up is Orchid Jelly, and this is a beautiful cooler toned purple. Same thing, the formulas are pretty consistent here. This one's going to be really good in 3 coats, but it's going to be full opacity in 4, and if you like purple, you're going to like this squishy jelly purple as well. I definitely like this one too. I knew I would like these, and the fact that they apply just so evenly just makes them even better, so I just think this is so fun. The fact that these are all so consistent makes me feel like I don't have a lot to say about each polish in between, because you're just going to have to look at the colors and you'll see how they build and see which ones you want to get. I'm pretty much repeating myself because the collection is so consistent. Then we have Ink Jelly. This was probably the one that I feel like was the least consistent out of all of them. This is a black sheer polish, but it also has some brown undertones, and I think think that's because it just doesn't build up very well. It was a little bit patchy, but these can be hard. I've mixed my own black polishes into a top coat just to make a sheer base, and I did a nail art design that I loved so much. It's probably one of my favorite nail art designs. I did it years ago. I'll put a picture up here if I can grab one. I wanted just like a sheer, kind of like a black nylon base behind my design, and I mixed it and it was a little patchy, but I feel like this one would be more consistent. So if I was doing that nail art again, I think this would be perfect if you want like that black sheer base underneath some nail art and then something on top of it to pop. This one's going to be really great. Even though it's not buildable, I wouldn't wear this on its own. I just don't think it's meant to be that way. In fact, these are meant to be for nail art, so none of them really are, but I think you can, which is really nice. This one I would not. It definitely did have a little bit of brown undertone, and I think that's just because it didn't get up to that full opacity in black. But I think if you want a black polish, you just wear a black polish. They're glossy and shiny, and you don't need to wear a jelly to get that glossy, squishy look, because you're going to get that depth with the deep, dark polish and then the shiny top coat. So I think this one is great for nail art, for that intention to kind of look like a black nylon underneath something, or like a sheer piece of fabric. I liked this one. It is a little bit patchy, but I think it's kind of hard to get a black sheer to be opaque. I just think that's kind of asking for a lot. Not as consistent as the other ones, but I think they did the best that they probably could. Yeah, so there's that one. Oh, and these are so glossy. I didn't use any top coats on all of these. I mean, I did use a top coat on this one just because I want it to last here, but I didn't use a top coat for any of my pictures. And I usually always do, just because it like brings out so much more in the polishes. Even if they're matte, I'll typically do it just because I like my fingernails just to be nice and glossy. Okay, so let's pick out my favorites. I have quite a few, and they're all these beautiful pastel ones. Look how gorgeous those are. So the green, which is Cactus Jelly, and then Sky Jelly, which is the blue. Here. And then Arctic Jelly is the white, and then Buttercup Jelly, and then the Orchid Jelly, which was the purple. Gorgeous shades. Definitely gonna pull these out. I already know which ones I'm gonna wear for sure, which is these three. So these are probably my top three. This green, the white, and the yellow. I will be wearing all these for sure. These I might get to. We'll see. So I didn't like them as much, so hopefully that's helpful for you. I did see somewhere, let me look it up. I did see they were kind of expensive. Yeah, so they're $13 on Amazon and Ulta. I didn't find them at Beyond Polish. I will reach out to them and ask them if they're going to be getting these, and maybe they did and they're sold out. I'll put it on here on the screen after I figure that out, but unfortunately I didn't find them on there, so they are a little bit more expensive, but I do think a few of them are worth it, at least in my eyes. So hopefully this video is helpful and letting you decide if you want to spend the money on those, because I know they're a little bit more expensive. So thanks so much for watching. I'm sorry I got this up a little bit later, but I'm trying to get all the rest of the collections that I have out, and I didn't want to skip this one even though it came out. It's been out a little while, probably a month or so. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.